Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
I also have Jayden Reed. Good for you. Is he still a good start for the upcoming weeks? Certainly watch what they do at quarterback. But if there's one player who is going to be impacted the least, in my opinion, of like the receivers at least, it's Jayden Reed. Like Jordan Love doesn't make Jayden Reed. Jordan Love makes nothing but bad decisions and terrible throws. He is a chronically inaccurate quarterback, right? I will say Jordan Love is starting to make more good decisions. I think he knows the offense now. He's just not a very talented thrower of the football. Jayden Reed is just wide ass open all the time. All the time. Like that's why last year he was so good. It was the scheme and it was individual play. Jayden Reed is very, very, very good at football. He is for some reason always wide open. And anybody who comes in at quarterback should be able to get him the football in the same way that Jordan Love fit that into a 25-yard window last game for a big play. Drop Chuba Hubbard for Dobbins or Bucky Irving. I wrote down a few players that for ad drop, or mostly just waiver wire pickups that we'll talk about in a little bit. Dobbins, Bucky Irving, both there. Do you drop Chuba for either of them? And I'll say this. If you are a Rachaad White owner, you 100% drop Chuba Hubbard for Bucky Irving because that guy is going to be the majority leader there if anything happens to Rachaad White. If you are looking for somebody to be a starter for you, then I would drop him for Dobbins. And I don't think Dobbins is going to be consistent either. I think it's a hot hand approach there. It's going to be very similar to what Dobbins had in Baltimore, obviously under Greg Roman, also alongside Gus Edwards. It's going to be a hot hand approach. We'll see what happens. But J.K. Dobbins, if he is healthy and stays healthy, people forget. Very good player. And Chuba Hubbard, the only reason why I'm very willing to drop Chuba Hubbard, one, he's on the worst offense in the NFL, but two, the clock's ticking. If the offense is bad and hasn't figured things out in the first month of the season, then all of a sudden Jonathan Brooks is back and Chuba loses all steam anyway. So, yeah, I'm willing to drop him. It's tough because you want to be aggressive on waivers week one. Like you really don't want to have a hesitancy here. If you can, I would love to trade him to somebody because I feel like there's still going to be a believer out there. There's going to be somebody in your league who's just desperate for volume at their fantasy running back position, and Chuba should still get volume. So if you can trade him for anything, package him with something and upgrade a position, I would love to do that. But if the sacrifice for that is not being aggressive on waivers, then you just got to cut bait because you got to pick up people week 1 and 2. You have to be aggressive. This is when the league-winning pickups happen. It's very rarely in the middle of the end of the season. Everyone acts like, oh, it's this late-season pickup, the Jerick McKinnon a couple years ago. Like, yeah, there's those players too, but these week 1 and 2 pickups are very, very important. Ralph, what's up? Welcome back. Should I be worried about Etienne and Laporta? No. With the Jags, they have continually said this offseason that they want to get Tank Bigsby more involved. And they did. So, take them at their word there. They also continue to say that they want Etienne to be a 2,000-yard guy. So 1,000 and 1,000 rushing and receiving. So I'm not worried about Etienne. Again, his touchdown upside drops dramatically if Tank Bigsby is a trustworthy back in their offense in the same way that it drops for Jahmyr Gibbs, drops for any insert finesse runner, I'll call them, when there's a Tank as a complementary role. But I'm not worried. He's still RB1. You're good. And Laporta, you're not worried. Not at all. It was a tough matchup. And it's the same thing. Are you worried about Amon-Ra St. Brown? I'm not. The Lions have more weapons now. It is what it is. But Dan Campbell loves Sam Laporta. He loves Amon-Ra St. Brown. And they will get theirs. Not worried about that at all. Would you start Godwin over London going forward? That's close. That might be matchup based. But PPR, I would feel more comfortable with Godwin half and less, I think I would still go London another week. But if it's full PPR, I think you can certainly consider it. Who do each guy play next week? Let's look. So Buccaneers play the Lions. So he would be attacking that slot corner, which I like more than the outside, I think. And Falcons play the Eagles on Monday Night Football. I think I would go Godwin. The only issue there is if the Buccaneers can't stop the run, the Lions will milk the clock a little bit, less possessions. That kind of sucks. But I would feel comfortable with it. The issue with Godwin last year, and people just freaked out, jumped ship, and why he was so underdrafted this year. Like Godwin played outside receiver last year for way too many snaps. It made no sense. And now he's back in the slot. He's going to be so much better. So much better. And I mean, we talked about it for my underdog season long picks, talked about it for sleepers, talked about I love this not Bengals, this Buccaneers offense. Baker Mayfield's finally in a comfortable situation. Nothing about the offense has changed except for the offensive line got better. I love it. I love it. I love Chris Godwin. I like Mike Evans as long as he's healthy. I love Baker Mayfield this year. For some reason, his season-long prop was at 3,600 yards, hammered the over, had probably too much money riding on the over for, obviously an injury destroys that. But I'm high on the Buccaneers. I'm high on them as a sleeper team. And if the Falcons keep playing the way the Falcons have played, Buccaneers are going to win this division.